gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of Lawrence's Let's Plays. Tonight I'm bringing to you the final installment. This is episode 5 of my epic tier list. Be sure to check out the other tier list videos that I put up. This is the final one. We're going to be ending this with the mages. To my returning viewers, thanks so much for your continued support. If you're new to the channel, this means you. Thank you as well for stopping by. With nothing left to say, Lawrence, let's play. So let's jump on in here. First off, when we jump into the gallery, I do want to say something real quick. Little preface to this video. I based this tier list and it was very, very difficult to put together because there are so many mages to go over, much like the fighter tier list. But this one was even more difficult trying to figure out how to place these heroes. Again, keep in mind this is one guy's objective opinion. You're welcome to your own opinions, and I welcome those opinions. Make sure you leave comments and let me know what you think about the list. That being said, I based this list on when you think about a mage, much like my marksman epic tier list, I base it first and foremost on damage. Do they provide damage? Also, as an added bonus, do they provide some kind of utility, or whether that be debuffing the enemies to make it easier for your team to do more damage to them, or another possibility would be, do they buff your allies to allow them to do more damage? So I believe this tier list will definitely bring some controversy. I expect it to be controversial because there's one hero in particular that I think far too many content creators are rating this particular hero way higher than this hero I think deserves to be, based on the fact that this person does basically one thing, and that one thing is fantastic what that hero does, but it's the only thing they really do. With that being said, let's jump into the list. Tier list, starting out with last place, and I'm not going to take a long time going over a lot of these heroes because for sake of brevity, I don't want to require you to allocate too much of your time to watch this video, so let's get right into it. Osiren. Osiren is garbage. I can tell you that I had an A5 Osiren. I equipped him with the absolute best gear on my account, which is currently my Bay Vierna, and he did virtually nothing. His damage is garbage. Look at his multipliers. 25% AoE damage. Okay, meh. 50% AoE damage on his ult. Gets skilled up to 60%. His damage is garbage. He's not very good. His basically what I kind of equated him to being, if you look at my tier list, I listed him as a poor man Zealous. I mean, what else is there to say? He's trying so hard to be Zealous, but the devs, if they want to make this guy viable, that you would ever use him, they really need to buff him. Nothing really to say about Osiren. In campaign, I gave him a D, and GR1, he's a D. And all the way across the board, you can clearly see that you're just not using him in any of the other things. Overall, I gave him a G-. That's right, folks. He is a garbage minus. Right above him, we're going to go right into AI. AI, again, I'm not going to jump in here for very, very long to discuss these heroes, but we'll talk about AI just real quick. Here's the thing with AI, and please correct me again in the comments if I'm wrong. I've used AI. I had her at A3. I had her fully skilled, and I believe her damage multipliers are misleading as hell. It says that when she does this crystal bomb, it's doing magic damage equal to 350 of attack and inflicts freeze, AoE damage equal to 520. Maybe in like early stages of Gear Raid 1 you might be able to use this chick, but she's nonsense. She is not very good at all with a cost of 19. Pass on AI. And AI, I listed that she has misleading damage. Also, her attack interval is 5 seconds. No thanks is what I put, because you have to put so much attack speed in her to make her even viable. AI gets a D in campaign. GR1, she gets a C. Clear across the board, you're just not using her. There's way better options. I gave her a G as in garbage. Let's move right along to our next hero, and that is going to be Nazeem. Nazeem, not a lot to say about Nazeem either. Nazeem's, he does 30% extra damage to targets with Curse, so that can really benefit him if he's paired up with a hero that's providing Curse, I guess. His damage you see is garbage. Magic damage to one enemy skilled up only goes to 60%. Curse Blade deals damage, restores 3% HP. He's garbage. I mean, he's just garbage. He does not do very much damage at all. And if you want to actually benefit from him, I will say one thing at A5, if you got enough copies, and A5 Nazeem, damage of Cursed Blade ignores 25% magic resistance, that could be quite impactful in something like Gear Raid 1. But overall, Nazeem's garbage. Only useful at A5 I gave him a D rank in campaign. He is just not usable really in Gear Raid 1 because yes, he provides magic damage, magic resist, but it's only single target, so the more I think about it, I just don't think you're going to use him. I gave him a D in Gear Raid 2. You're really not using him in 3 or Arena or Tide. Void Rift, I gave him a D. I gave him a D in Faction. Guild Boss, just not using him. He's an F. And then we got the next one, which is Selkath. We'll jump on in here to Selkath real quick. Selkath, same kind of thing. There's not a lot to say about Selkath. His damage is meh. He just really doesn't do a lot of damage. There he is. He's just a fish. Enchanted Bubble, attacks enemies, 100% damage, yada yada, 30% extra damage. He does provide an attack speed increase to all allies, and that would seem like that's really good, but it's really not, because the attack speed increase he's providing is plus 30, max skilled up, it only goes to 70. So a 70 attack speed increase is literally going to reduce your hero's attack interval by about 1 to 2/10 of a second. So he's pretty lame. Throw it back in the water. It's a fish you do not want. He's not really usable in campaign, in my opinion, or rather D. I'm sorry, in the campaign. D on GR1, 2, GR3 in Arena and Tide. You're really not using him. Void Rift, he's a D. He's a D in Faction. You're not using this guy in campaign, or rather Guild Boss, and he is an overall F. And here we come to the controversial pick. Now, I expect this to be controversial, but all I would ask is that people would take the time to hear me out and listen to my argument about Laurel. Why is Laurel so low on this list, Lawrence? Are you crazy? Maybe, maybe not. Here's my argument, guys. What I said in the beginning rings true here. Yes, what Laurel does is amazing. This rage regen, once you promote her to level 5, she restores 50% of the rage cap upon her death to surrounding allies in her heal range, which typically is about 2 allies. However, I will point out that even though it's misleading, it says she has to die, she doesn't. You can recall her, and that's great. However, her damage is meh, so she's not providing damage. She's a magic damage dealer that's providing no damage. When this skill is activated, this is her ult, it restores 3% of the max rage for 2 random allies within range every 2 seconds for 8 seconds, and the duration goes up, the skill cost goes down. That's all well and good. However, when you summon Laurel, you immediately recall her to get the 50% rage cap regen. So therefore, her ult is null and void. You're never going to use it. Secondary to that, she does grant a damage increase for 5 seconds to her allies. The damage does go up to 20% damage increase. But again, I would point out that it's based on a passive. She has to stay on the field for her to generate this passive to give to her allies. And because you are spawning her, or you're deploying her in, and then you're removing her, what's the point? You get no benefit from this whatsoever. None. Her cost is extremely low. I will give her that as well. That is awesome for the purpose of what she does, which is regen rage of your allies. Is she absolutely clutch throughout the campaign, Lawrence? Yes. There is some content that almost seems like gated, that if you don't have Laurel, you're not beating the content. But that's not what this tier list is about. If we were saying, who's the MVP of the mages that really you really need to kind of help you push content, then I would say it would be Laurel. But this isn't what this list is about, guys. The list has to start with the damage they do and the kind of utility they bring. She does no damage. She brings amazing utility in the rage regen, but that's it. She is the definition of a one-trick pony, and that's why she is listed so low. And I'm curious to see how many of you guys agree with me. Be sure to leave comments on this. So anyway, Laurel, she's a D in campaign. I never used her. I'm basing it on my own experience. I never used her. I never had any reason to use her. I got her as an A in Gear Raid 1. I got her as a D in Gear Raid 2. Gear Raid 3, she is an A for sure. Arena, I've got her as a C. You're just not really using her. Tide, you're not really using her. Void Rift, I gave her a D. B in Faction. D, because she's an esotericist, and esotericists need as much damn help as they can get. I gave her a D in Guild Boss. I could see where someone would use her. I don't find any use because I'd rather just have a damage dealer down. And D minus all around in the game. Next, we're going to go to Soleil. And again, Soleil, there's not really much to say about her. Her damage is meh. I just want to point out that this bouncing up to 5 targets that she does, keep in mind it is up to 5 targets. If it's just one target in line, guess what? They get hit only one time, and then this Vibrant Flame stops because it has to continuously bounce to multiple targets. Not a lot to say about Soleil. Like I said, I want to kind of speed this up to get through this quicker. Soleil, I gave her triple Ds in Campaign, Gear Raid 1 and Gear Raid 2. I also gave her in Arena a D. You're just really not using her. I mean, you could use her, I guess, in a pinch. I gave her a D as well in Void Rift, a D in Faction. I'm sorry, a C in Faction, excuse me, and an overall rating of D minus. And then we're going to go to N'Zolt. N'Zolt, not a lot to say about N'Zolt. He's pretty garbage too. He is Magic Vial, one enemy, 220% magic damage. I do like that he provides some dot with either poison or burning with an effect for 5 seconds. As we know, that dot damage is very impactful in this game, poison or burning damage. Burning especially, it seems like. But his damage is, again, pretty meh. Not a lot to say about N'Zolt, so we're just going to go to the tier list. His ranking, a single target with dot on basic. I gave him a rating of C. D, D, not usable, not usable, D, D, C, not usable, D plus. Moving along, we got Azoth. Azoth hidden over here. I've never got a copy of Azoth. I don't know how rare it is to get him, but he does provide burning, so some burning dot, 100% damage to one enemy. I do like that he boosts his own attack quite a bit. Like, this is a big boost. When activated, increases crit damage by 80%, crit rate by 20%, crit rate increases by 5% per second for 20 seconds or until the hero crits 10 times. You see the crit damage actually goes up an additional 40%. It's 120% more crit damage. Quite nice. Initial rage plus 100, so 800. And his max rage cap is only 1,000, so he's getting to that fairly quickly. Also, when the hero lands a crit hit with basic, there is a 25% chance to deal extra damage equal to 70% of attack. So pretty solid overall. Single target damage dealer. Let's look at the list. I've got Azoth listed as a single target with burn alt that boosts his own stats. And I've got him listed as C, D, C, not usable, not usable, not usable, D, C, not usable, C minus. Moving along. Navraz. Love Navroz's design. He's got a really cool design. Let's jump in here and look at his design right quick. He's a scarecrow, y'all. I love me some scarecrows. He's cool looking. So, what does he do? 100% damage to one enemy. Killing an enemy deals AoE damage, which is quite unique. The fact that he has a basic that if he kills the enemy with his basic, it provides AoE splash damage. I like that. But his AoE, or his manually activated ult's really nothing to write home about. Not a lot of damage, 50% magic damage, summoning ravens to random targets, so multi-hit, not necessarily AoE. But 50% magic damage goes up to another 20%, so 70% AoE damage is not really a lot. But I do like this, that every 4 attacks, which can be scaled down to every 3 attacks, he does 150% AoE damage, which can go up to 165% damage. So that's actually quite a nice bit of damage. And Navras is listed right here. I said meh damage on his ult, but solid AoE on his passive. And I've got him listed as C, B, C, D, not usable, C, D, A plus for faction, and overall listed as, where is he? Right there. Overall listed as a B minus. Yep. But not usable in Guild Boss. Not usable in Guild Boss because he is doing multi-hit and AoE, and as we know, we want single target damage for those heroes attacking the Guild Boss. So then we go to Imani. I think Imani is pretty interesting in the fact that this right here, increasing her attack speed by 140, damage dealt by 240 for 20 seconds is quite nice. She does have this penalty when overloaded ends, decreases attack speed and damage dealt by for 15 seconds. But if you go into Awakenings, A1 removes that penalty. A3 gives her a revival time minus 25 seconds, which is quite impactful. Also, A5, after attacking the same target 6 times, increases the next attack's damage by 100%. Keep in mind, she is single target. And what I put about her, what I really like, is that I wrote, if you have an A3 Imani combined with a Volca that's at least A1 that reduces all allies' revival time minus 25, it basically gives you virtually unlimited deployments, and her damage is quite solid. And what I mean by that is that she's already reducing her revival time by 25. You have Volca reducing it by 25. Her revival time is typical of any hero in the game, which is 60 seconds. That means every 10 seconds, once she dies, in 10 seconds she's coming right back, which I think is quite cool, actually. Quite unique, in fact. So I gave her a BCB, CCD, DA rating. Not usable in Guild Boss, and gave her an overall rating of B. For sake of brevity, that's why I'd ask that you guys, you can see the ratings that I'm giving. I'm not going to sit there and keep saying, this is campaign, this is GR1. I think you guys get it by now. So next is going to be Raiden. Let's talk about our boy Raiden. Raiden is the epic esotericist lord. What I like about Raiden is he is AoE on basic. He is also AoE on his alt. And also he summons this Thunder Spirit. Damage increased by 3% with each stack. You see the stacks up to 4 additional stacks. Thunder Spirit is his talent. Every 10 seconds he gains a Thunder Spirit. Each Thunder Spirit increases his damage by 3%, stacking up to 3 times. So he can put out quite a bit of damage, 30% increased attack, and also he reduces his faction allies' cost by 15%, which is quite nice. So Raiden is listed quite high because of his AoE on basic and alt, and what he provides, that additional utility that I was talking about, that he provides the reduced skill cost for his allies. Raiden is a B, B, C, B, triple C, S for, what did I listen for? S, pause. S for faction. Not really going to use him in Guild Boss though because of the AoE. Want to focus single target, and I've got him listed as a B+. Next we're going to go to a lot of people's favorite, Mari. Let's talk about Mari. Mari is fantastic for what she does. What does she not do? She does not bring damage. How do you know, Lawrence? Check this out. Basic attack at max 1786. I'm pretty sure that's the lowest attack of any hero in the game. So if you're building Mari for damage, you're building her incorrectly. You want to build her with attack speed for sure. Some rage regen would be nice as well, because what she brings to the table is CC, and CC all day long. Basic attack inflicts slow on the target with each attack. Additionally, there's a 35% chance to cast icicles at 3 random targets, inflicting slow. Also, on her alt, cast a blizzard on enemies for 5 seconds, dealing AoE damage equal to 70% of attack per second to all enemies in range, and inflicting them with freeze. And the coup de grace for her, what makes her so good, and the icicle passive, attacks triggered by the icicles inflict slow. Meanwhile, targets inflicted with slow by Mari will receive vulnerability physical damage plus 10%, and magic damage plus 10%. And that can also be skilled up, as you see, extra damage taken to 20%. So she is providing a nice little buff for all your allies to do more damage, and that's very important in this game. So that's why Mari is rated so highly. I've got her listed as A, C, D, D, A, B, B, S, not really used in a Guild Boss, A- overall. Now let's jump in and let's talk about Greed. Really like to have Greed. I don't have Greed yet. Greed is AoE on basic, multiple enemies in range, 50% chance of increasing the range or inflicting magic resistance reduction. Quite impactful, minus 15% resistance to the enemies on for 4 seconds. Also, his ult has got some nice damage. AoE damage equal to 200% attack. Creates a purgatory that can either inflict slow on all enemies in range or deal 50% AoE damage. I would prefer to be the slow because the previous AoE damage is very nice at 200%, but this secondary chance to get additional AoE is only 15% per second, so I would much rather the second one be slow. Drains the victim's soul after every kill to increase attack by 10% for 16 seconds, stacking up to 3 times, so he can boost his own attack by 30%. I also see it says that he has burning. You'll notice because I don't have him, I'm guessing the burning happens when you get more promotions on him, so he must be providing burning dot damage as well. So his damage is quite solid. Let's go into the tier list. Greed, I've got him listed as A, DB, not really used, C, S, not really used in Guild Boss, and an A overall. Now we get to our top 3, ladies and gentlemen. First off, we're going to talk about Aeona. Aeona is awesome. Aeona is really good. Does great magic damage, usable in a lot of different areas in the game. Her talent, every 4 attacks, launches a star burst, doing AoE damage. She slows, she's got built-in slow. Star domain, slows enemies in range. AoE on her basic, AoE on her ult, increase her own attack speed. She's really good. Really strong in a lot of areas, especially Gear Raid 1 for sure, because of the high physical resistance of the enemies and not so high magic resistance. So Aeona I've got listed as she has built-in slow on her ult, and also at $4.99 you can buy her, and it is money well spent. She's definitely going to benefit you. A plus, A, C, C, B, A, C, A plus. Not really used in Guild Boss, but an overall ranking of A. Moving along, let's go to Aeon. Aeon would be my number 2 pick. She is the Epic Lord, wherever she is, of the Cultist faction. For those of us that were not fortunate enough, boo-hoo, of getting Morrigan, I'm one of those people, trust me, I was crying myself. She's the next best option. Why she's so good? Creates a gravitating force dealing 70% AoE damage per second, affecting enemies for 4 seconds. Force also pulls up to 8 surrounding enemies towards it. Its center with 1-time strength, inflicting slow, so she is providing slow. She also provides on basic and her ult the vulnerability of magic and physical damage plus 12%. Look at the extra damage taken. If you skill this up, it goes up an additional 8%, so that's 20% on her basic and ult. Damage taken, physical and magic by the enemies, that your allies can put that extra damage on them. And also she's providing the 20% additional damage to enemies that are under a CC effect. Not quite as good as Morrigan, but hey, Morrigan is very difficult to get, as we all know. I put vulnerability, physical and magic damage on basic and ult, including increasing damage for allies. Overall on campaign, I gave her a B, A, C, not usable, A, S, not usable, A plus overall. That gives us the final mage. Who is the top epic mage? And I do believe wholeheartedly that number 1, as soon as I can find him, is Pyros. Pyros is amazing. He is so good. He is part of what would arguably be the best Guild Boss team. Would be a faction rather. It would be either between Infernal or Nightmare. But let's see, why is he so good? When activated, Destruction Command, manually activate ult. When activated, increases damage by 60% for 1%. For 15 seconds, 1%. It marks one target in range with the highest HP at the moment to make it a prioritized target, while doing 30% damage per second. The mark lasts for 7 seconds, explodes at the end of its duration, doing 200% AoE damage to nearby enemies. When this hero is deployed as a Lord, gains Focus Fire Effect. Focus Fire Effect is like Twin Fiends, just a little bit less damage. Keep in mind that healers do not get included in this, so someone like Dolores can't help boost this damage. But they join forces to channel energy to the Lord for a powerful strike, regardless of their location. That's so important to note. It doesn't matter where the hell they are on the battlefield. They actually add to the damage of this ult, and it can go up to an additional 700% damage. Nasty. Also, his passive inflicts vulnerability physical damage and vulnerability magic damage on targets that are marked with Destruction Command. That's the one target that he marks with his ult, and deals 150% additional AoE damage when the mark explodes. Keep in mind that the AoE was 200%. Now, with this, add another 150%, so that's quite a lot of damage. Also, that damage does get increased through skill ups. And of course, you got his Lord skill. And his Lord skill gives a 10% attribute boost to all allies, of course, but this is a really big one. Penetration increase for 10 seconds when he casts his ult. The pen increase is unbelievably strong in this game. It ignores 30% of defense and magic resistance. So unbelievably good. Of course, he gets even better when you awaken him, all that good stuff. Let's jump in here and let's go to my tier list. This one, we're at the end of the video. I'll go and read this one out. Campaign, he's an S. Gear Raid 1, he's an A. Gear Raid 2, I got him as a C. I got him in Gear Raid 3 as a B. In Arena, I got him as a C. In Tide, I've got him as a B. I've got him as an S in Void Rift. Faction, he is an S+ all day long. Guild Boss, S+ all day long. As previously stated, he does belong to possibly the best faction against Guild Boss. He's an overall rating of S. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's my tier list. Like I said, I look forward to your comments. Let me know what you thought of the tier list. Would you rank someone higher, lower? Did you think I did a good job? Or were there some people maybe I undervalued or overvalued? And be sure to let me know in the comments. Appreciate the hell out of each and every one of you guys for stopping by. Thanks for your patience. Like I said, this video took a while to put together. I do appreciate you guys again for stopping by. Make sure that you do like the video, give the big thumbs up, all the good stuff. I'm losing track of what the hell I'm saying tonight, guys. I'm sorry. Make sure that you do smash the like button if you enjoyed this content, and also consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. With nothing left to say, I'm Lawrence. This has been Lawrence the Let's Plays, and I am out of here. Take care, everybody. See you real soon.